Okay, so welcome back to episode 2 of Big Fella's Weight Loss Podcast. So today we're going to talk about Mark's story. If you've watched or listened to episode 1, you'll know between us we've lost over 10 stone in weight, and we think it's just important to give you an idea of who we are if you're going to be plugging into this podcast over the coming weeks or months. So before we do, mate, let's just talk about football. So
absolutely, my favourite topic.
Yeah, so we both play in a league called for Man vs Fat, which is all about weight loss. And the way it works, very briefly, is you play on the pitch and you have your score at the end of the game, but you can win or lose games based on weight loss. And my team played Mark's team, and that's a top against second in the league. I think you guys are top of the league before that game started.
We did, yes, all right.
That were being the key point there. And it was a close one thing. So
the game finished 1-1, didn't it?
It did, mate, yeah. And the game finished 1-1, and I think we ended up winning the game based on the fact that more of the lads on my team had lost weight.
That's right. 6-5 it finished in total, didn't it?
6-5. So we're now top of the league. It's in our hands. And we very much plan on winning it and showing Mark's team that they are shit in comparison to the amazing weight loss of the Oranges. What do you mean? Yeah.
We've got a return fixture to come and we will battle you.
No, I don't know.
I'll be fully fit then.
I don't know. We're going to do it on and off the pitch.
We'll see.
Prediction.
We will see, mate. We will see.
All right. Okay. Right. So, Mark, your story, mate.
Let's do this.
If you don't mind, I think it would be a good place to start, mate. Start childhood. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was good. I lived in a sort of loving family home, 2 parents that loved me, cared for me and everything. But right from day one, I was always a big lad. Always been a bit chubby at school all the way through. I remember getting picked on even in year 1, in the very early stages of being at school, and kids teasing me about being fat. So that's something that's lived with me for most of my life. And something I've dealt with, and that kind of went through school, even went into fucking workplace. I remember being 30 years old, sitting in a board meeting, and the chairman taking a piss out of me for being fat. I'm like, what the fuck? So it's never really left me, and so it's something I've lived with my entire life as such.
Yeah. Let's start with that then, mate. So we'll come on to work later. I think it makes sense to do this sort of chronologically. So you said you got bullied in year 1.
Yeah.
I can't even remember year 1, to be honest, mate.
I know. It's just, I remember sitting there sitting around in front of the teacher, like kids chatting away, and some kids saying, "You've got a really big tummy. My mummy's having a baby and your tummy's bigger." Brutal. But kids are ruthless, and we were all like that once, I guess.
Yeah. And it's kind of that weird thing, isn't it? Like it's kind of like they just say it as they see it. So even if they don't mean to be horrible, it's, if the fact that you remember year 1, which is what, like 5 years old.
Yeah. It was.
For any Americans listening, like I said, year 1 in England is like 6 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
And the fact that you remember that means that it really, even back then, that long ago,
it's rained on me. Yeah,
hit you hard, didn't it?
Yeah, man.
So we kind of met when we went to secondary school together.
That's right.
And
big up St. Peter's.
St. Peter's, yeah, it was great. It's for anyone who doesn't know St. Peter's, which I imagine most won't. It's like a school in the middle of a council estate, in a market town in Cambridgeshire. So
yeah,
it's definitely not the roughest place in the UK by any stretch of the imagination. But
it wasn't Palace either, was it? No, it was rough around the edges. But not to take too much away from, we've both done quite fast. Yeah, I suppose. Exactly. We came out the other side.
Yeah. But I always think primary schools obviously hit you quite hard but that year 1 thing, and I'm sure that weren't the only instance where that's happened. But
God no.
Going into kind of secondary, mate, because I always think secondary can be worse, because that's where kids can be proper shit.
Yeah. No, and it went through into secondary school as well, and got teased and bullied and picked on for being fat. The one thing I liked about secondary school was I then discovered playing rugby, and then all of a sudden being a big lad had some leverage. I mean, I was a forward, I was a prop, and that was important for a rugby team. So that really sort of sort of helps. But day to day, you'd get the fat jokes all the time, and it was difficult. It was just something I learned to live with, and you just put up with it. And it wasn't nice, but you just had to get on with things. And it was sad, but it's something I've had to live with and deal with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So, just want to go before I ask you the next question, mate. I just want to go over because your mum and dad are lovely, and I obviously know them from growing up and stuff.
Yeah,
I've met them a few times. They're lovely people. Your old man's ex-forces, right?
He was, yeah.
So has he ever struggled with his weight as well? Is this sort of a little bit of genetics in here?
I guess there is. I guess while he was in the forces, less so. You had to maintain a level of fitness. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say he was ever sort of obese or anything like that. Since coming out of the forces, I think he's probably struggled a bit on and off. But more recently, I think 2-3 years ago, he went on a mission to lose a lot of weight. And that was kind of one of the things that really inspired me, thinking, look, if my old man can do it, why the fuck can't I? So that was really there. But certainly in the younger years, my mum, she struggled with weight probably when I was a bit younger. And I think when she was my age, when she turned 40, she went on a mission to lose a lot of weight as well. And so she lost the weight in 2000 and she's kept it off. To look at my mum now, you'd never think that she sort of struggled with her weight, but she's kept it off. And yeah, that's my inspiration now. That my mum and dad have both done it. There's absolutely no reason why I can't. So that's where I'm sort of headed now.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely right, mate. And I think they would be really proud of themselves for inspiring you as well. Knowing what I know of them, that's really good, mate. And so you say, like, for him, probably genetically very similar, but obviously being in that armed forces world, very much sort of managed to keep on top of it through exercise. Yeah. And then we were sort of saying at school, mate, one of the things I remember from school, and bearing in mind this is now, 25 odd years ago, probably 26, 27 years ago that we were friends.
Yeah.
I remember you doing Weight Watchers, and it was one of the first ever times, because the reason I remember it is because I was like, wow, that's awesome. And I remember thinking I need to do that. It was where you, on a laptop, were logging everything.
Yeah. That was like my fitness pal fucking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's where my mum lost the weight. So my mum lost the weight through Weight Watchers. And then it was through that I said, I just turned 16 and it was like, right, I need to do the same thing here. And so I got behind it and I obsessed over this Weight Watchers software package and was logging every bit of food intake, everything to the T, like you would on MyFitnessPal these days. And I lost, I think, around 2.5, 3 stone.
Nice. So that's good, man. And just out of curiosity, before I move on like in the next question, but what happened with that then? So you were doing well with that? Yeah.
So I did. And then when it came to an end, I didn't really have any plan or idea of how to sort of keep it off. I was a 16, 17-year-old boy. I just thought, well, I've lost it now. Just crack on with life and that's the end of it. And then as life's come at me from all different directions, I've put it on, lost it again, put it on. Looked at different diets and methods over the years. I've tried it all, quite frankly. I've done a lot. I've done, like I said, did Weight Watchers. I've done the Atkins diet. I've done a juice fast. I've done intermittent fasting. I then did the Cambridge Weight Plan 15 years ago. 16 years ago, 2009, I did that, and I lost 4 stone back then. And for most part kept a lid on it. And then more recently with the pandemic and let's go back a bit. I got married, had kids, got comfortable, settled down, got divorced, which hit hard, got into a new happy relationship. And then the pandemic hit, so I stayed at home a lot and ate a lot and didn't get out much. So that then seemed to really sort of skyrocket my sort of weight gain. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, my weight over the years.
So yeah, mate, it has, and we'll come on to what's worked in a minute. But like leaving school, then, so you know you've done all these different diets. It's obviously been something that's always been in the front and center of your mind, but what is it about being big we don't like?
That's a good question. There's probably a few things. There is that just self-conscious element that people look at you thinking, look at him, he's a fat fucker. It's and then it goes on to sort of like your clothes don't fit that well. Your trousers are all tight. Your jumpers are all tight. I was saying to you earlier today, you get that point with your t-shirt and you lift your hands up in the air and then it goes up round your belly button. And it's embarrassing, and so there's an element there of really sort of conscious about, and yeah, just getting picked on. That was always a tricky time in sort of as a kid.
So for you, it sounds like it's more like societal pressures, like, you know, the fact that we want to fit in, and it is, isn't it? It's taboo to be fat. You know, it's not acceptable in a way. Like people, I think if you've never struggled with weight, they just pretty shitty opinions on it, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I'd say so.
What a bit of a personal question here, Mark. I hope you don't mind, but like, what about your sex life and stuff then?
Oh, I've never had a problem there, mate. I'm a stud.
Brilliant, love it.
Yeah, like I said, certainly in the younger years, I didn't really have a lot of luck with a lady. Certainly in sort of secondary school, didn't have a girlfriend. Didn't actually probably have my first kiss with a girl till I was 16. Which, again, I remember sort of even lying about it to people at the time, saying, yeah, I've kissed a few girls and that. And because, again, there was like a bit of a societal pressure on it. But certainly in the younger years, and it was almost like I had mates that were quite good with girls. And I kind of just sort of accepted, well, being a fat guy, this just isn't for me. And so that obviously had its drawbacks, and that made things sort of tricky. One thing that helped was I lost the weight at 16, just finishing my GCSEs, and then I went to sixth form in a different school. And so I effectively went into a new school as a new man, having lost a lot of weight, and then all of a sudden became that a little bit easier to sort of talk to girls, snog the odd girl and that, and got my first girlfriend at that point. And so then things did change, and then it realised to me that by getting the weight off and keeping the weight off, I'm a lot more appealing to the opposite sex. And so there was definitely that side of things that maybe you hadn't really thought of at previous times. So that's definitely, it's been part of that. But going on into sort of adulthood and everything, I've had partners and that, and it's not affected me in that sense. But certainly having lost 4.5 stone now, that side of things, it's easier, physically easier.
Do you think, because I often wonder this, right, do you think that's because of you more than other people? So what I mean by that is, like, is that because you're more confident because you've lost weight? Or is that because of how other people now see you?
It's definitely first and foremost confidence. You believe in yourself. You feel better in yourself. You're happier in yourself. And that just gives off its own glow and aura, I guess. What would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it's a bit like the whole weight loss thing. I don't think that you can say all women like small blokes. Like my wife doesn't like skinny men. She doesn't find them attractive.
Yeah.
Even when she was 8 stone, she didn't find skinny men attractive.
Yeah.
Every woman is different, like every bloke's different. And I think for that reason, it can be a little bit that the attraction is not there because of the weight. I get that. And that's just down to personal preference. But I do think that when I was carrying my weight at the heaviest, I just had no confidence. There's no way I'd have even started a conversation.
No, I think that was it. Certainly in high school, I wouldn't even dare go up and talk to girls because in my mind, they'd look at me thinking, fat fucker, no chance, see you later.
But then there are some, you know, a lot of people used to say to me, oh, you shoot your missus, you're shooting your missus. And there's an influencer that I've seen on TikTok, and he's quite a big lad. He's from the UK. He's a really big lad, to be fair, and his missus is quite fit, and the comments on there are just horrendous. Like, they're not really together, and he's going to die soon, and like, you know, I'm not saying that there's not health concerns of being drastically overweight, but but it's that just to me kind of shows how society views it.
Yeah.
It's strange, and I wonder whether it's the same for women. If a woman chooses to go out with a larger guy, does she get those same things? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so mate, we've talked about what you've done, and so let's go over what has worked for you, because I think that's important that we share that story. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the start of the year, I made a commitment to myself that I was turning 40 and I really now need to start taking my health seriously. And so I was one of these guys that had tried every diet under the sun. Like I've done the keto diet, I've done Weight Watchers, I've done juice fasting, intermittent fasting, all with varying levels of success. The one thing that has worked for me in the past and what I've gone back to this time was the Cambridge Weight Plan. So I went to see a consultant for the first time in 2009 and I lost 4 stone doing that. So do you know what the Cambridge Weight Plan is?
Yeah. I've so I got a mate as a rep, as we we've been discussing about potentially getting it down. Yeah, and to be honest, mate, I've not heard good things until you spoke about it. So
sure.
Let's go over that, because I think it's important. So I've heard that they're like, I've heard that it's just juices basically, and then when you then go back to a normal level of eating, you balloon back up again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm conscious as well. I just don't know a lot about it. I've just heard negatives.
Yeah.
I've heard some positives as well. It's worked for my friend Rachel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know her when she was bigger. I've seen some pictures. I think I've been shown them by her. But now she's. I would call her, if I was to describe her, I'd describe her as a slim female. So
yeah. So the gist of it is, you go and see a consultant, and they sell you meal replacement products, and these are sort of protein bars, shakes, soups, porridge, and then there's a few sort of mini meals. There's like a curry in there, there's a chili. They're actually quite tasty. I've got some products with me today, actually. And you effectively stop eating regularly and you replace it with these meal replacements. You have... and there's different levels to it. I should probably add in. On the most strict level, you would have 3 or 4 meal replacement products a day and nothing else, which sounds horrendous and very strict. And for that first week, it kind of is. You do really struggle. You're not. You get hungry. You do your best by you just drink lots of water. In fact, one of the key messages they give you: drink water as much as you can. I think at least 2.5 litres a day, more if you can. And I just remember that first week was really, really tough. So, yeah. And then with that, you then, like I said, you have different levels, but certainly at that level, that's the most strict level. I struggled on that, both when I did this in sort of 2009 and more recently, purely because you miss eating. We all accept it. We all get a lot of pleasure out of eating. Food is important to us. It makes us happy. And so what I then found was the next level down from this, I found to be a lot more sustainable and a lot more enjoyable, which was basically have 3 products in a day, but then have a small no-carb meal. And so, for example, I would have 2 bars in a day and a milkshake, and then when I get home, I'd have some steak and some vegetables. And so it's something to look forward to at the end of the day. It keeps your body ticking, and something to enjoy. That was the most important thing for me. Steak and vegetables one night, chicken and veg, maybe an omelette with a bit of spinach, something like that. And I was able to do that and not feel miserable, not feel like I'm missing out. And that first week was tough, but get past that week, you're then in your rhythm and you just go and go and go. And you just saw the weight consistently fall off. And that was such a good feeling. You'd go and see your consultant once a week. You've lost another 5 pounds. And it's like, wow, do this for another week. That's another 5 pounds. Do that 3 weeks running. I've lost a stone, over a stone. And that was kind of what spurred me on. And so, yeah, like I said, I've done this twice in my life, and certainly what brought me back was, I did this in 2009. I lost over 4 stone, but I was able to keep a lid on it. 15 years have passed and slowly put weight on, and then more so in recent years. But it was the one thing that I felt was sustainable. I tried some other things in between. I tried a juice fast, and I lost a stone and a half in a week.
Yeah.
Fucking mad. It came off quick. But then I went back to eating, and then I just went straight back on. It was literally, it was the most pointless exercise. I put myself through a lot of misery in that short amount of time to then just put it straight back on. So it was like, there's no fucking point in this.
Good. Yeah, definitely. So, mate, so you've obviously done it before, and you've lost a similar amount of weight to what you've lost now, give or take. What's the plan going forward for you, and how do you stop this being like in another 10 years' time?
Yeah.
And just another bad experience?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a couple of things to probably add to that. Is I haven't finished my journey yet. I am still probably a stone and a half off a healthy BMI. And so I'm looking to sort of continue on the journey. I'm still midway through it now. I've had a few disruptions in recent weeks. There's been a big football tournament on. Unfortunately, it didn't come home. So that kind of made things a bit tricky. And like I said, I'm at a point now where I am still trying my best to be strict on it. But if there's special family occasions or I'm spending time with friends, I'm doing my best to enjoy those things. Because I kind of realised I never got fat by having a meal out with friends or going on holiday. It's all the shit I did in the day-to-day that was what was where I put the weight on. It's like having a Ginster's pasty when I fill up my car and a chocolate bar. It's coming home and raiding the cupboards and sort of eating a share bag while I'm cooking dinner. It's that kind of shit that where things went wrong. So in immediate term, it's to continue, carry on losing a bit more weight. Now, with the Cambridge weight plan, like I said, there's different levels to it. And so my objective is to then work my way through the levels to get back to a regular eating pattern. And I feel if I go through those levels, I'll educate myself more about making better decisions and then put myself into a position where I am, more mindful of what I'm doing. We'll still have a sesh with my mates. We'll still go to the pub from time to time. But again, it's in my job, I'm on the road a lot. I drive a lot. It's what I do when I'm not sort of spending time with friends in sort of in social environments. That's what's important, and that's what I need to adapt to going forward.
Yeah, and just to touch on that actually, because that's something I've always struggled with is professional lifestyle. You know, if you're working, you're on the road, you're out and about a lot.
Yeah.
And that used to happen to me with like a second's notice. You were like, all of a sudden you were going home at 4, and now you're going to Scotland, or you know, and you're not going to be back a week, and eating healthy around that is hard. That any sort of busy professional lifestyle. So, do you think the Cambridge diet's good? If you know, if you're a sales rep, right? So
yeah. If
you're on the road 5 days a week and you're never home, there's temptation of a Mackey's drive-through and stuff.
Yeah. As a day-to-day thing, it's worked. I think the challenge comes as like hotel stays when you're stopping over. In my mind, and certainly in my last job, I spent a lot of nights away, and that would be in a Premier Inn. So you'd have your dinner ticket and you'd have your sort of unlimited breakfast in the morning. So you'd check into your hotel, it's on company expenses, you get yourself steak and chips and have like 3-4 pints, not even thinking about it. Just because you're on your own, there's nothing better to do. That's what you do. You'd sit in the bar, you'd watch the game on that night, and sink 4 Stellas, and then you'd wake up in the morning and it's all you can eat buffet breakfast. Fucking brilliant. And doing that was really bad for the waistline, and I mean, enjoyable. And we all like the I like a Premier Inn breakfast. And what about you?
Yeah, mate, yeah, definitely.
So so those all presented challenges, and I guess I'm not spending as many nights away these days. But since doing this, I've had the odd night away, and No, I've taken my products with me, and because I'm in that rhythm, I've just stuck with it. Again, it is the challenge, and when I'm out of this and I'm just living a regular life, just eating normally, that's where the challenge comes. And now and again, it'll be all right to have a few pints in the bar and have that buffet breakfast, but I can't be doing it all the time. And that's where it then becomes, I've got to make more mindful decisions, I guess, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's the key in it. I hear that a lot in diets. Is that a lot of it's about planning. And if you know you're going to be away overnight, you need to make sure you take the right food with you.
Yeah.
And I think on your diet, you've said to me in the past that you still have one normal meal, low carb meal.
Yeah.
What we'd call normal. So I suppose on that you could go and get like a, it sounds boring, I know, but if it keeps you on track, you can go and get chicken salad for your dinner.
I tell you what, literally last week, we had a sales meeting in head office, and usually, not usually, always, it's sort of a buffet spread. So loads of sandwiches, big piles of crisps, sausage rolls, the type of thing on a sort of a corporate lunch. And I'd fucking go to town on that shit. It's usually really nice as well. They get some nice caterers in. And in fairness, they were doing it on a bit of a budget this time. They said, look, we're just going to go to Marks and Spencer and get sandwiches. Let us know what you want. I'll get them in. And so I'd have normally said, yeah, I'll have the all-day breakfast triple. Yeah. I'll have a grab bag of Doritos, bottle of Iron Brew or Coke or something like that. And I thought, no, I can make a mindful decision here. So put me down for a chicken salad. And that's all I had. So I had a chicken salad, and then I had my products around that. So I had a product in the morning, had my chicken salad at lunchtime, went home and had a couple of products in the evening, and that was my day's nutrition. And it was that, it can work.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the key, is that actually, Luke in my football team at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we said on the previous episode, we do Man vs Fat, which is all about losing weight. You get goals off the pitch. So Luke is one of the top weight loss scorers.
Yeah.
In the Peterborough Man vs Fat. And
who's the top weight loss scorer?
Some dickhead. But no, Luke's, and he's like, mate, he's proper on it at the moment. And I think I look at him and I think, well, what you've done is you've broken habits.
Yeah.
You've got yourself into that mindset and space. And I think that's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
But once you start getting the results, and you've broken those habits over about a month or so.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy, because then your challenge is staying on that. But it does seem easy, and I've found that in the past as well. But yeah, listen, mate, thanks for telling us about your story. The next episode is my story, and then we've got some great guest speakers coming in. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, subscribe on your podcast provider. Check out our YouTube. Check out our TikTok,
Facebook, Instagram,
X.
LinkedIn. We're still not sure about that, but if it's not on, it's coming soon. But it's Mark Hall, it's Darren Ockenden. Find us on there. We'll be sharing our content and looking to build a community.
Yeah. So if you want to say anything about weight loss, if you've got any questions, not that we're any experts, but we're hoping to be linked up with some good people, or you just want to share your story, then just get onto one of those social media platforms or bigfunnerspodcast.com, and we'll see you in the next one.
Love to hear from you.